Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories.
This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Fluffy Spanish. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share my inheritance with the siblings who are now threatening to sue me for undue influence? My father passed away a few months ago. In his will, he left his entire estate to me, explicitly disinheriting my brother Mark, 40 male, and sister Jenna, 38 female. The thing is, 10 years ago, my father gave them $150,000 each as an advance on their inheritance to start businesses because they begged and begged. He had a lot of money back then, so it wasn't much to him. Both of them blew it within 2 years. Vacations, cars, etc., and had the nerve to ask him for more. When he refused, they got cruel. They stopped visiting, wouldn't let him see his grandkids, and badmouthed them to the entire family, claiming he was a miser who was hoarding their money. I was the one who was there for him. I took him to doctor's appointments, helped him with his finances, without ever touching a dime for myself because, unlike my siblings, I have a great job that I worked hard for, and was with him in hospice when he died. It was just me and him at the end. His will is ironclad, written by his longtime lawyer, and includes a clause stating they received their share during my lifetime. Mark and Jenna are furious. They've been blowing up my phone saying I poisoned him against them. They're bad-mouthing me to the family and I'm getting phone calls from relatives that I should help them. Now, they've hired a lawyer and today I was served papers. They are threatening to contest the will, claiming I took advantage of our father in his old age and used undue influence to get him to cut them out. They offered to drop the lawsuit if I just give them $100,000 each. I told them to get lost and that I would never give them a single cent of our father's money after how they treated him. I am so angry I can barely speak. Am I the a-hole for telling them I'd see them in court and refusing to give them anything? I'm honestly worried that fighting this in court will take more in legal fees than just paying them. But I am so angry that I need an outside opinion because I've lost perspective. Well, OP, no, of course you're not the a-hole. Your dad already gave them their inheritance. They begged for it. They wanted it. Plus, this is just an extortion. They want money, and when they blow it up, they're gonna come back for more because that's what a-holes like your siblings do. Look, the good news is, as you tell us, the will is ironclad, so there's nothing they can do about it. I would lawyer up, of course, and give him the will, or maybe even contact your dad's lawyer. He was the one that knew all about it, so I'm sure he has all the information he needs to get them to back off. But no, OP, you're not the a-hole, and I wouldn't give him crap either. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Kindly Push 3460 says, not the a-hole. Like the will states, your siblings received their inheritance while your father was alive. You know you have nothing to feel guilty about. Even if you gave them money, they would blow through it and ask again for handouts as, it's not fair you still have money and they don't. Block them and carry on with your life knowing you were there for your dad. Irrelevant Manatee says, not the a-hole. Don't give them a cent. They are bluffing. They can try to sue, but they would need some proofs in order for the trial to take place. As they don't have anything, the trial probably won't even happen. And Dopey responds, I thought the same thing until I got served papers and it all became real. I'm going to call a lawyer once I stop fuming. I just hate the idea of losing any money at all over this. The worst is, I feel like I'm the only one in this family who's grieving and I'm just so drained over all of this. It's been a very long few months. Also, I really like my nieces and nephews. The idea of not seeing them again is awful. Stroppo says, not the a-hole. I worked for a lawyer and what he told me once was that it is very difficult to prove undue influence. From what you're shared here, it doesn't sound like they have much of a case. But I'm assuming you now have a lawyer yourself. Stop talking to your siblings and direct any further questions to your lawyer. Ditto other relatives. Stop talking to them. Be firm on this point. I have nothing more to say. And then just tell the siblings to contact your attorney. And Opie responds, "Thank you, that's good to hear. I have no idea how all this stuff works and I just don't want to get bled dry with legal fees after all the crap they've pulled over the years. I have an appointment with a lawyer tomorrow to start dealing with this." No Hold 8178 says, "Not the a-hole, and if his lawyer is still alive, he will attest to the fact that this was on your father's wishes, and he was of sound mind and body when it was drawn up. I am not a lawyer, but I think this is a civil matter, which would mean they will have to pay for your lawyer fees when they lose. You could also ask the hospice place to vouch for you that you were the only one who visited. Your siblings are gross. Sorry you have to deal with their BS. I'd start trash talking them to the rest of your family to set the record straight and give them a taste of their own medicine." And NYC something 50 says, "I assume the hospice caretakers will be able to testify to your presence and your siblings' absence. My brother's wife had to do that with one of her siblings when their mom decided she wasn't leaving anything to them when they didn't visit. She was slowly dying of cancer, but her mind was sharp to the end. The kids practically lived with her at the hospice, taking turns visiting every day, and number 4 didn't even show up once in the entire 2 years, not even the very last days." Mom got crotchery and decided to completely cut number 4. No share of the house or car sales, no share of the remaining bank accounts, not even jewelry or paintings, and was removed from all life insurance payouts. When the time came, the will included a scathing recitation of what being a selfish waste of an egg and sperm number 4 was, and that Mom hopes they learned a lesson from all of this. Number 4 blamed the other kids and threatened to sue, which was expected. So they presented Mom's diary notes from her entire stay at hospice, full of "tried to call, number 4 didn't answer," and a complete visitor record signed by various staffers as witnesses, along with several testimonials. Mom went full scorched earth on number 4 so that they'd be laughed out of court if they tried to sue. The best part was the final line of her will cutting them out. "Guess you truly were your father's child, and good luck with that. Remember, your dad lives alone in a camper on his sister's back 40 because everyone hates him too. Sister-in-law's family occasionally gets just drunk enough to enjoy that they didn't know their mom had it in her." Well, the community agrees that OP needs to lawyer up and put those people in their place. And we got a really nice story in that last commenter. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thanks to everyone who suggested contacting the lawyer who drew up the will. I sent him all the papers and texts I'd receive, and it turned out that sending people texts in California that say things like, "It won't stop until you give us the money," is considered criminal extortion by letter, which is a felony. He contacted their lawyer, and it turns out they'd lied to him about a lot of things, and he was not enthused about the extortion. Everything fell apart pretty fast, and it didn't cost me anything. I'll probably never see my nieces and nephews again, at least not until they're much older, and the other family members are angry at me because they feel the extortion was actually my fault for giving them no other options. I decided I'm going to just move away and find peace elsewhere after I'm done dealing with the estate. I just want to be done with it and move away from here. There's a 2-year statute of limitations, so if they make me change my mind, I will file a police report, but I'm pretty sure their lawyer will explain how bad of an idea that would be. I can't believe things got so ugly over money, but I'm out. I'm realizing their goal is just to have everyone be as miserable as they are. It's not really about the money. It's that I might be happy and they'll still be miserable, and that's unacceptable for them. Even if they had the money, I don't think anything would have changed. I hope the kids rebel and turn into decent human beings as they grow up. If they do, I hope to hear from them someday. Some people commented in my original post that they'd had similar experience, and I really feel for you all. It's a really unfair position to be put in, and there's a helpless element to it that just sucks. Learned a valuable lesson, the importance of keeping receipts. Well, Peep, it is a positive thing in this whole sea of crap that you're in right now, considering everything you're going through, and the fact that you probably won't get to see your nieces and nephews. But at least these a-holes are not going to bother you anymore with this issue. Or at least they shouldn't. Hopefully, like you say, your nieces and nephews don't grow up to be like their parents. But in any case, OP, here's wishing you the best. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user NoDefinition7097. My boyfriend is in a mental institution after I called the cops. Am I the a-hole? I, 17 female, have been with my boyfriend, 18 male, for about a year. Throughout our relationship, he's often mentioned ending his life, at least once a month. Sometimes he's kind, but other times he has mental breakdowns where he blames everything on me and says I'm the cause of his problems. When we argue, I usually apologize just to calm things down, but he often keeps attacking my character. This cycle has been draining, and recently I told him I wanted to break up. A big part of our relationship is that during arguments, he frequently threatens to end his life if things don't go his way. Because of this, I've found myself constantly apologizing and convincing him to stay calm, even when I don't feel like I've done anything wrong. It's been emotionally exhausting and has felt manipulative at times, but I've been scared that if I don't handle things just right, he might actually hurt himself. I've wanted to break up for a while now, but I've been afraid to do it because every time things get serious or tense, he brings up ending his life. I was worried that if I left, he would actually follow through with it. That fear has kept me in the relationship longer than I wanted. Today, after a few days of arguing and me being more distant in messages, we're long distance, he said he was going to his father's house to get a gun and get it done. He told me it was either he gets arrested or he does it. He kept saying I was ruining his life. At that point, I called the police. They later informed me that he agreed to go and is now in a mental institution. Now, I don't know how to feel. He hasn't contacted me since, and I'm left wondering if I've made the right choice. I didn't want him to hurt himself, but I also worried that calling the cops might have made things worse. Will the institution actually help him? And was I wrong for taking that step? I genuinely just wanted to help, but I'm struggling with guilt and confusion now. OP, none of what's going on is actually your fault. You did the right thing. You called the police. That was the right choice. So no, you're not the a-hole for that. You shouldn't feel guilty. You should be relieved. You were, OP, because I'm hoping this relationship is over, in an emotionally manipulative relationship. You've said so yourself. You've wanted to end this thing for a while now, but you've stayed in it because of fear of what he might do. And that makes him the a-hole. Look, I don't know what he's going through personally, but it doesn't give him the right to treat you the way he did. He claimed that you're the cause of his problems. Well, then why did he keep dating you, huh? Anyways, OP, you did what you had to do and it was the right thing. The next thing you need to do is block his number. Whatever problems he has, they're not yours to fix. You need to keep living your life and enjoying it. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's check out the community comments. What You Talking About says, I had to call the police on my ex for the same reason in my teens. You made the correct decision, but now you need to cut contact and look after yourself. You've done your bit. Not the a-hole. More worried about you going forward than your ex. Pink Duck says, this is emotional abuse. Nothing will help him unless he wants to accept help. You can't change him, and you deserve someone who will treat you with kindness full time and not just when they're in the right mental space. Severe Ordinary 2816 says, not the a-hole. You did what you had to do to keep him safe. I work in a psychiatric hospital and I'm a therapist. They will treat the life-ending ideation, probably put him on medication, and eventually he will be discharged. You didn't ruin his life. Honestly, and this is just an observation, not a diagnosis since I'm not his therapist, he sounds like he has borderline personality disorder. Ian Dosmond says, not the a-hole. He may well accuse you of ruining his life. If so, he will do so because he has a life and is in a position to do so. 30 years ago, I put one of my friends in a mental institution, and that was someone I actually like. There was a real chance they would never forgive me for it. I figured if I was going to lose a friend, I'd rather lose them by having them hate me than having them dead. They now have 2 kids and are a pediatrician helping hundreds of other kids. We are still friends. And Sufficient Project 273 says, first off, you did the right thing. The fact he apparently willingly went with them is a really good sign that he wants to get help. He most likely isn't allowed to contact you or anyone outside his parents, so don't take that to heart. But you are not married. There is no reason you need to be a part of his recovery unless you really want to. But even if you want to be there for him, the work is all on him. The facility can help him, but only if he puts in the work. Too many people are afraid to call the authorities or to escalate until the person snaps and does something horrible that can't be fixed. So again, you did exactly what both you and he needed you to do. The community absolutely agrees that OP is not the a-hole and she's got nothing else to do here. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hey guys, I didn't expect to have to update this thread. My ex has been sending me non-stop messages, blaming me for everything and threatening to sue me. By the way, we are not from the same state and I'm 17. Here's basically what he said, verbatim as much as possible. He claims that I got his dad's apartment swatted and caused PTSD for both him and his dad. He admits he wasn't actually life-ending and lied about being depressed to test me, but he still blames me for losing interest in him and making his life hell. He also accuses me of ghosting him so he could have more physical bonds with other people. He keeps claiming that being sent to the mental institution is now on his record and has ruined his life, saying he's lost his Second Amendment, 90% of career options, voting rights, and even the ability to join the military. He described being locked in a white room for 3 days with bright lights, nothing to do, green scrubs, forced sleep disruption, and hearing screaming, calling it torture. Here are some of the things he's actually said. Now I know you either want to watch me suffer eternally or want to see my end in some way. Your family or you can get sued or deal with an investigation that is going on based on the fact that you got my dad's apartment swatted. I wasn't actually life-ending. I just wanted to see if you cared about me. You got me sent to the mental institution, which ruined my life. Even after all of that, I'm still willing to help save your life from being ruined, even though you destroyed mine. That's because I care. He also keeps trying to manipulate me emotionally. He insists he's informing a lawyer and keeps threatening legal action, claiming I slandered and destroyed his life while still trying to make me feel guilty for calling 911 to help him. I don't know what to do. I haven't replied. OP's edit. I did block. He created another account to message me. He got out of the mental hospital a few days ago, and to everyone judging me for my choices, yeah, I was naive. I believed people could change, and I learned the hard way that not everyone will. By the way, thank you to everyone who replied with thoughtful messages. I read every single one of them. Well, OP, this has really gotten out of hand. Everything that he's claiming, it's just BS. And I would actually start using the messages that he's sending now as proof that he's harassing you. So you can put a cease and desist or a restraining order or something like that to be free of him. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliant and it's by user Kitty Queen Gata Orly. Money is money. I work as a cashier in a supermarket. I mentally scream every single shift because people stress me out these days, but alas, I can pay my bills. My workplace has a ton of rules. Some stupid, some not. For example, we have a minimum of $5 per card transaction. Yes, ma'am, even Apple Pay. But personally, I gotta say I only follow that rule when a manager is around. Or if the client is a real jerk. You understand. There is a rule that I do understand. We cashiers can't accept a huge amount of loose change or change rolls without a manager's approval. We can totally accept something like $4 in just quarters, but not that same amount in just dime and cents. We have a Coinstar machine literally steps away for that. Well, guess what happened some days ago? This oldish lady who couldn't even grant me a good evening wanted to give me her whole total in quarters, dimes, nickels, and cents. Her total was about $12 with some cents, so I couldn't definitely accept it. I explained the rules, what I stated before, and even offered her help to manage the machine. But she refused and said that money is money. You're just being a lazy bitch because you probably don't even know how to count. I stood there, mentally insulting her, but physically still, smiling, staring at her. She sighed and fetched a 20 from her purse, but stopped. This lady suddenly had a huge grin, put the bill in her purse again, gave me a 10 and $3 in nickels, dimes, and quarters. You explained the maximum was 4, right? Now I wanted to scream, but I remained calm. I simply sighed and admitted defeat until I had the brightest idea. I was supposed to give her 67 cents in return, and I made sure to open the roll of cents I had. Slowly, I counted and gave her the whole change in just cents. She scoffed and asked, "What the F is all this?" My answer, with a huge customer service smile, I just answered, "Money is money, right?" She just dumped it all in her purse, grabbed her stuff, and walked away fuming. Oh well, shrug. Oh man, while you were doing that, the phrase, "two can play at this game," came to mind. It was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, OP.
And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.